You could build a house or a duplex like this one. You don't need any prior experience in real estate. You don't need to be a contractor. You don't need to be an agent or a wholesaler. You just need to follow the proven framework that I've used to do over 250 doors to date. This duplex cost me $600,000 and is worth over $850,000. I got to utilize a hard money loan at 10% down, and the bank covered the rest of the 90%. In this video, I'll break down the entire 7-step process of how you can do the same thing too. Make sure you stay till the end because I'll give you the blueprint in PDF form so you can walk through the entire process and have it right in front of you. Before we jump into the 7 steps, I'm gonna actually stick to my Furcrest duplex project. I built 4 different duplex, total 8 units. So we're gonna walk through the 7-step process and you'll get to watch how I'm building this project out start to finish. The first of the 7 steps is gonna be finding land. You've gotta identify the plot of land that you're gonna build on. There's 2 different types of land. There's typically a finished lot within a established neighborhood or city or jurisdiction. And then you go a little further out and you've got a couple acres in rural land where you can still build a nice home, but it's not within those city limits. When it comes to finding land, it's really important to understand, does the land have utilities? Does it have the right zoning? And then you have the financial side of things. When it comes to identifying land, the easiest way to begin looking at properties is go to Redfin or Zillow. I prefer Redfin because there's a few features I like. You can go to your area, you can choose land, and you can choose the search filter of what size of land you're looking for, square footage, acreage, and you can have actually a drawing tool to choose which areas you want to be in. One, I would make sure there is new construction activity in the area. So you can go to the filter and do minimum year built 2020 or newer. And if you're looking at a major city, for example, let's call it Nashville, Tennessee, there's gonna be a lot of construction. As you're gonna go further north or west, you're gonna start seeing less and less construction. You just wanna be within an area where there's at least a decent amount of construction, not where there's literally no builds and it's no man's land. So set those filters up. You're gonna start getting deals coming to your inbox. Remember, there's 3 different things when it comes to land. So real estate land or real estate development. The first thing is if the property doesn't sell within 24 to 48 hours on the MLS, then that means there's 2 other factors. The first factor is the land is priced too high, so they're not selling. The second factor is there's a couple of things with the property that make it not buildable, we'll cover in step 2, where you have to make it buildable and that costs money, so therefore it's priced too high because it's not buildable. And then 3, it's simply not buildable. There's certain restrictions where you literally cannot build on the property. Now, my disclaimer is I buy about 10% of properties on the MLS. My 90%, we can call it 80 to 90. 80 to 90% of what I buy is off market. It never actually hit Redfin. It never actually hit Zillow. You would never know that I bought the property. This home that I'm standing at today was off market, never hit the market. Furcrest that we're breaking down, never hit the market. I bought it directly from the property owner. That strategy alone is one of the most important strategies when it comes to scaling. Doesn't mean there isn't deals on the MLS, but just like a good deal on Facebook Marketplace for a car, an iPhone, furniture, doesn't matter. When it's a good deal, it flies off the shelf. It'll be sold within 1 to 2 days. That is the exact same thing when it comes to the MLS. Off market, I don't compete with anyone. It's just me and a property owner having a conversation, negotiating. Step number 2 is making sure the deal pencils and is profitable. That is underwriting. Step number 2 is underwriting. First, you want to make sure it's a buildable lot. What does that look like? Utilities, sewer, water, power. Those are the main things you need. Some people say, well, what if you don't have gas? What if you don't have the other? Everything else is fine, it's possible, but you have to have sewer, you have to have water, and you have to have power. When it comes to sewer, you gotta make sure, is it public sewer or is it private? If it's private, you need a septic tank. A septic tank is gonna cost more, 10 to 25,000 more for a septic tank than just connecting to the main sewer line. Water, same concept. Is it public water? Can I just connect to it? Or do I have to go get a well? A well is 5 to 10,000, depending on how deep you have to drill and what area you're installing it. And then does it have power? If it doesn't have power, that's a different issue. You'd have to walk through that, but most likely it does have power. Most areas where there's just regular houses, there is power, so new construction will have power. Now it comes to the financial side of things. What do you have to look for? There's 3 main buckets. The first is land, what you're paying for land, construction, how much it's gonna cost you, and what it sells for. With those 3 buckets, you wanna have a profit or equity position of at least 25%. What does that mean? If it's $1 million project, 25% of that would be $250,000. Cut all that in half. If it's a $500,000 project, you should have at least $125,000 of profit or equity. This allows a safety net if markets cool or anything corrects. you're in a better position. You do not want to go to a project with 10% margin, 15% margin. I live and breathe the rule of 25% ROI. The only time I have an exception to drop to 20% is if you're building a personal house. If you're building a personal house, you're gonna live in it, you're gonna cover the payments, it's gonna appreciate over the next 2 years. That's fine. You can break that rule and drop to that 20% mark. So you have land, construction, sale price. Sale price is a number that's gonna happen, comparables in the area. You're not gonna sell a house for 100 grand or 200 or 500K more than the other houses in the area. So that's a set number. Construction, if you're building builder grade, meaning you're not doing crazy finishes, that's a set number. Usually construction is from 100 in Dallas, Texas to about $160 a square foot for builder grade. Anything above that means you're doing nicer tiles, you're doing bigger, taller ceilings, nicer windows, but 100 to 160 across the nation. I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes. That's the number. Then you have the land price. Construction, not gonna change. Sale price, you're not gonna change. Those are locked in. The land is the only moving factor. Can you get land at 50 cents on the dollar? Yes. Can you build at 50 cents on the dollar? Never. Can you sell for 50% more? No. So land is your biggest lever to making a profit. So finding the right land at the best price is the key to success when it comes to development. This home, for example, I could build this home, or Furcrest, let's call it Furcrest. I could build my Furcrest duplex and I paid $150,000 for the lot and it cost me $600. The neighbor could go buy the same property on the market for $300. He's gonna cost $750 and I'm at $600. His land is my profit. $750, $600, it's worth $850. I got 250 grand of equity. He has 100 grand of equity. By the time he pays his finance fees, his agents, his closing costs, he's gonna be left with 30 to 40,000. I'm going to be left with 150 to 200,000. The land is the money. The profit is in the land. Most people forget that, but that's the key when it comes to this game. If you're enjoying the 7-step process and you want to get in depth of how to do this from all the resources, tools, plans, lenders, everything that we do to accomplish our deals and have our personal help on your next real estate deal or your first one, click that link below. Book a call with my team. We'll get on a strategy session and see how we can best help you absolutely crush it in this game. And let's jump back to the video. Step 3, this is also just as important. Step 1 and 2 are 70% of the work. Step 3 is 20% of the work. And the rest of it is honestly 10%. Because financing, the bank will give you money if it's a good deal. Building it, the project will get built out as long as you have the right product and you're in the right area, you'll get that done. So step 3 is plans and design. Choosing the right product for the right area. Why am I building this Furcrest duplex in this area? 1, it's zone multifamily. 2, there's a massive demand for townhomes. And 3, there's tons of comps of townhomes selling for $425,000. That's the comp in the area. That's what I'm gonna build. I'm not building a $1.5 million home right by Fred Meyer, Starbucks, Chipotle when the demand is townhomes. And usually you're gonna pay a little more money for higher density, meaning duplexes down. So you design the right product for the right area based on comparables, and then you have your little wow factor with the type of finishes that you have, your flooring colors, your stone, your paint colors, the layout, the more open concept. I love doing a drywall hood, the cabinetry, all those little things, a fireplace. In Furcrest, I put a nice little fireplace, I put a little railing, I did really beautiful siding, I added some stone. All of those things will give that wow factor, but you could build the wow factor in the wrong area and overpay for the land and not make money. So step 1 is most important. Step 2 is the second most important. Step 3 is also important. Then you jump to permitting, you get the permits approved. On step number 4, once the permits are approved, you got your plans in hand and you move to step 5, which is financing. Money will always follow a good deal. Lenders will fund your deal if it's a good deal. As part of the build-up community, if you're part of our platform and who we are, you get to come into your first build with 10% down and the bank will cover 90% of the loan. If you're a first-time builder and you're gonna go elsewhere, sometimes they charge 20% or 25% as a down payment. Instead, here you could do 10%. On all our projects, we do 10% down, and our personal houses, we do 5% down. So a $500,000 project, 10% down would be $50,000 plus the lender fees and the closing costs. If I'm building a $500,000 personal house, I'm actually putting 25% down plus the closing costs and the lender fees. Both of those are great strategies. The personal house game is beautiful because if you live in the house for 2 years as your personal home, you can make $250,000 as a single person, or you can make $500,000 as a married person, as long as you guys file your taxes jointly or together. That's topic 701 of the IRS code and section 121 of the personal house game or the primary residence game. A lot of people say, well, you can't make $250,000 by living in a house for 2 years. You can if you build it for $200K less than what it's worth. That's the game right there. So the tax code is great, but it's not as utilized because you buy a house, you live in it, it appreciates 30 grand in 2 years. Whoopee, 30 grand. It's still money, but by the time you sell the house, you pretty much don't make anything. When you build the house, $600,000 it cost you. It's worth $850. In 2 years, it appreciates to $900,000. You have $300,000 of equity in the deal. Step 6, the construction side. You're not a builder, you're not a licensed contractor. If you are, sure, that's maybe your advantage. If you're not, that's what I do. I'm not a licensed contractor. I hire the builder, I pay him a cost plus contract. What does that mean? The project's gonna cost me $400,000 for construction. I agree to pay you a 15% fee on top. That's $60,000. I could agree to 10%, that's $40,000. So I'm gonna see all of the invoices. I know the cost, I have my budget, and I pay the builder a percentage or a flat fee on top that allows me to control the cost, build a quality project without overpaying for it, one. Or two, if you agree, oh, my builder said I'll build it for $500,000 and my fee is in there. Well, he's gonna start cutting every single corner to get more profit. I don't want that. That's why I do cost plus. That cost plus is what I've done for the last 250 doors, and it's worked out absolutely amazing for us. There are times where I bonus the builder, and there are times where I penalize the builder. That's where I have the builder contract, and I make sure that I put the right terms in place when I'm building a product out. You don't have to be a designer. If the builder's built out 30 or 40 doors, choose which finishes you liked on which house, and he can just replicate it, or you can design your own projects. I love to design my projects because it gives me a little bit of edge on the market. Step number 7, you come into 3 different strategies. 1, you sell the house. 2, you move into the house. Or 3, you can sell off some and keep some as rentals. For example, this Fir-Crest project, I sold off 6 units, kept 2 for myself as rentals. You have a different strategy when you're doing multiple doors, but selling, one key thing when you sell a house, stage it. This beautiful home is staged. Fir-Crest, we staged the entire unit, and instead of selling for $425 like everybody else, we sold them for an average of $447 per door. So by staging it, people can imagine the space and where they're living, and now we got ourselves an extra roughly $20,000 per unit times 6 because we didn't sell the last 2. That's $120,000 of extra profit because we created vision. Somebody can walk in and imagine the space. The average person doesn't know what the space looks like furnished, and in fact, a home feels even smaller when it's not. So furnish it, it feels even bigger. You're gonna get a bigger dollar amount for what you do. And then there's the other strategy of, let's say you kept one of the units, you can turn it into a business. The reason it's not one of the 3 strategies, you can either build to keep, build to sell, or do a mix. Then there's another strategy of when you keep some of it, you can run a business, which is Airbnb. Airbnb is not real estate development. That's its own business. You're operating, you're renting, it's hospitality. It's the same as hotels. But you could run an Airbnb business with a home that you have 120 grand of equity on, plus you're gonna make $3,000 to $5,000 a month on that Airbnb business. Now you're taking a strategy and turning it into an actual business. If you want to get into this game, you want to learn about the entire 7-step process. 1, click that link below for the PDF. You'll get that. It's going to be the entire 7-step process built out in 7 stages or 7 pages, and it's going to be very clear on what's happening. So we'll cover everything we just covered here. And then if you want to book a call and work personally with me and have a personalized group chat with myself, and then have our entire team on board helping and pushing you to get either into this game or do your next deal the right way and structure it, and have Zoom calls every single week with myself and my team, click that link below. And also, if you want to hear my story and how I got to where I am today, click this link here, watch the entire story, the process of me going from full-time job to building homes on the side to transitioning out and becoming a full-time developer. Click that link, and again, as always, let's build up.